What's up, everybody? Welcome to 3D Rivals, your first line of defense against stupid movies. My name is DJ, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, my sister Devana.
What's up?
My brother Derek.
What's up?
And our friend Dan.
What's up?
And this week, we're going to be talking about Juror number 2, which is a new movie available on
HBO Max.
Yes. Starring Nicholas Hoult as Justin Kemp. We got Zoe Dutch. I've never heard of her before. Never seen her before.
Who was she?
She was the wife.
She's
okay.
from.
I feel like I've seen her before. But...
She's on a Disney Channel show as a kid.
No idea then.
Yeah.
No, I feel like I've seen her before.
I kind of want to say iCarly, but it's not iCarly.
I never watched a Disney show, so I can't say.
You've never ever watched
Sweet Life with Zach and Cody.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
No,
Nope,
the
never
live
seen
action
it.
shows I didn't watch. And as a kid, I was
didn't either.
upset that they had live action shows. I
Me
was like,
too.
why?
Me too.
I want to watch cartoons, Disney.
Me too.
Like,
And then it's
that
always
was-
trying to
That's true.
pick up
It's true.
TGI Friday shows and put it on there. Like they picked up Boys Meets World and
Oh man, TJ
Home Improvement.
Yeah.
And I was like, this still is not going to make me watch this. It's like I'm on the Disney Channel
I want to watch Mickey
to
Mouse.
watch cartoons.
Okay.
I can
That is
watch
true.
Boy Meets World at 9 p.m. on Friday.
Yeah, when it's time, when it's not time for cartoons.
Yeah.
Cartoon
So
time is
yeah,
over.
I did not watch any of the
Yeah,
the
me
live
neither.
action Disney shows. All right, we got Toni Collette. She was the prosecutor.
Yes.
Gabriel Basso, he was the defense attorney.
Mm-hmm.
That's not his name, is it?
Yeah.
I thought his name was something else. Isn't it? I thought it was Mesa. That's not his name? You
No.
got that
Mm-mm.
wrong.
No,
Mm-mm.
no, Gabriel.
His
Looking
name
at the
is-
cast list right now.
His
Gabriel.
name is Gabriel.
Yeah.
Gabriel.
Could have swore his name was something else.
He doesn't look like a Gabriel, but
That's what I'm saying.
You got Francesca Eastwood, Kiefer Sutherland, Leslie Bibb, Chris Messina.
That was the
that's the public defender.
Thank
That's
you.
right. I'm sorry.
like, what are
Gabriel
you talking
Basso
about?
was the person on trial.
Goodness.
Oh,
I was
okay.
like, that is not his name. I'm like, Darren got this wrong. I'm looking it up right now. Like, that's not his name.
Okay, I had it wrong. J.K. Simmons was in it as well. A few other
He
people.
sped over Francesca Eastwood. That's Clint Eastwood's daughter. And he was also the
Hey.
director of the movie.
Oh, yeah,
That's
Clint
my
Eastwood,
random
directed
movie
the
fact. I only had like 2.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
She's the dead body.
Yes.
scratch that. Scratch that.
She
was.
He was the victim.
What a debut!
She had live parts in people's flashbacks.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yes. So this movie is that was the cast. The acting, I think it was good.
Overall, I don't have
yeah.
issues with the acting.
I have no issues with anyone's acting in this movie. I think everybody did a good job.
I would agree.
Even Nicholas Hoult. I think Nicholas Hoult did a good job. You're not supposed to, I think, by the end of the movie, like his character.
Are we sure? Because I wasn't sure. Because I feel like they kept pushing a certain narrative, and I was like,
By the end of
"Are
the movie,
we supposed to be rooting for this guy? Because I'm hoping him and his family dies.
Jeez.
Dies
Him
all
and
of them.
his family.
All
They
of
didn't
them.
have anything.
Because
to
his
do with
wife also proved to be a little low down too, and I was just like, we're really cavalier with other people's
it.
lives.
She wasn't as nice as I thought she was.
And I was just like, well, then
But-
you can go too. I just feel like if the law ain't gonna get you, maybe
Wait, did I
karma will.
miss that part?
What about his wife?
Yeah.
We'll probably get to it when we talk about the plot.
I might be over.
Yes,
Right.
I'm just
I
saying,
mean,
I
she
was
wasn't
hoping
evil,
he
just,
met his
you know.
end and she could go with him.
I mean, at
But
first,
she didn't.
you kind of understand him.
Mm-hmm.
By the very end of the movie, I'm like, well, no.
I was just
Yeah.
like, if you in his shoes, though.
Well,
Okay.
Okay. Well, when we get to the plot,
Okay.
we'll talk about
Okay.
it. So acting was fine. Music is non-existent. I don't know, like.
I'm sure there was music somewhere.
Yeah.
It was probably in the background at the bar. There was music at the bar.
It was music at the bar.
Cinematography, it's a jury movie, so nothing special. I did like how some of the editing, when they start talking about the past event, like in the courtroom, they're like, "Oh, this is what happened," and then instead of we listening to the lawyer explain it, we cut to a past scene,
Yes.
which I thought was pretty good.
Yes.
So that was nice. The plot of the movie is you have Justin Kemp, that's Nicholas Hoult, who is called to be on jury duty. His wife is very pregnant. They already lost one pregnancy, which was twins.
Apparently.
So, they're nervous about this one. And he's called on the jury. He wanted to get out. They didn't let him out. And so what I think was interesting is you start listening to them explain what happened. It's a murder trial. The guy's on trial for murdering his girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And as I start explaining what happens, it like Nicholas Holt's like, I was there. Like basically as he's hearing what happened, he's like, oh, I was at that bar that night. Mm-hmm. Which you remember that a year ago? But all right. I mean, you would remember when they get to the part of she was thrown off the side of a bridge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he remembers hitting something that night.
A whole body.
So, okay.
It was raining. You couldn't see.
True.
I will give him that.
Which makes me discredit the old man story. I'm like, okay, they couldn't see what they were driving, but you could see through trees in the rain. I'm like, you could see though.
I have so many issues about.
Okay. Let me get to this point. Okay. This whole case was weak sauce.
Weak?
Yes.
Oh my God. My notes are so long about the nonsense that was going on in this case. And I started typing. I was like, there's no evidence.
Yeah. Zero evidence.
So weak.
Yeah. I look at it as, but that's how they do police work for real.
Yes. What J.K. Simmons said, like once you feel like you have your case, everything else, if it don't help your case, you ain't trying to hear it.
We know it's.
No, I buy that. They went in, he's guilty, so anything that agreed with him being guilty is cool. Mm-hmm. But then I just feel like everything else though, just poking holes in it. Mm-hmm. And that's why I just feel like maybe some of this was kind of like bad writing, maybe because it was just too weak.
The case was very weak. So let me explain to the audience what the case was. So boyfriend James is on trial for killing his girlfriend. Here's what they have. They were at the bar drinking. They got in an argument, not even a physical altercation. But remember, he knocked a bottle off the counter, which broke.
She made it seem like he threw the bottle at her. Did you knock the beer bottle down? Like, yes, lady. Like, okay.
Yeah, he was like, on accident.
Yeah. He knocked the bottle off. They're arguing verbally. They're arguing outside. Mm-hmm. She kind of pushes him a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then she walks off. He walks off to follow her. And that's all the witnesses you have.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's it. Nobody saw the between. Like, once he leaves... To the point of her dying, no one
saw that. Yeah. So I'm like, besides the fact that they argued, where is your evidence that he killed her? No. Like, and you're like, oh, his DNA is all over the body. Yeah, he was in the bar. They were touching each other. Yeah, that's on video.
That's his girlfriend. But my thing is, they say his DNA is on our body. Defensive wounds? Was there any bruises on him? Yeah. He didn't have a murder weapon.
There's no defensive wounds because she wasn't
murder
fighting
weapon
anyone.
that they couldn't find.
Yeah.
Like,
there was no murder.
It never turned up.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so you can't use that then.
Yeah, a blunt object.
If it never turned up, you can't really use that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you don't know what it is. So I'm like, even without the extra layer, which we'll get to what the extra layer is on here, I'm like, this case is weak.
It is.
If I was a jury, I'm not saying he's guilty. No. I don't care how much people yell and talk to me. I'm like, yo, bro, they did not prove to me without reasonable doubt, unlike the dumb girl said that said he didn't prove without reasonable doubt that he was innocent. And I'm like, that's not what you have to have reasonable doubt that he's innocent. That's not how that works.
Innocent until proven guilty. Yeah. You got to prove he's guilty.
Yeah, it's the other way around. See, that's why I feel like it's kind of like weak writing because everyone on the jury was super biased. Every single member of the jury.
Super biased.
There could be some people, but for all 12 people to be that biased is just like, there's issues with the story.
Yeah. So before we get to the extra layer, the jury, that scene made me angry. Before they didn't even want to talk about it. Yeah. They're like, yeah, everybody, he's guilty. And I'm like, based off of what? That he argued with her? I'm sorry, but to me, that's not proof that they killed somebody. He could have argued with her and then some other dude came up behind her while she was walking home alone and killed her.
Yeah.
You can't just go like it was obvious him because he argued with her. People argue.
Yeah. Yeah, arguing doesn't make him guilty. Having a fight with someone doesn't make you guilty.
Yeah, true. I was like, wow. And the way they just was like, yeah, no, he's guilty.
Yeah.
But it always depends on what jury you get. Because people are selfish. That one lady.
You're right. But for every single jury member, that's my issue.
Yeah.
Every single member was like, I don't want to do this. Let's just vote guilty and go home.
Yeah. Like, I feel like that one young dude was like, he was just like, oh, yeah, guilty's cool. I think he was just gonna go along with whatever. If they would have said not guilty, he was like,
well,
oh yeah,
until
not
they
guilty.
started
Cool.
explaining stuff.
Yeah,
I
feel
started
like
getting into it.
That part of a jury is probably what happens. You probably get 2 or 3 people that's just gonna go with the flow.
Agreed. I feel like you would get people that's super biased and all of that, but I just feel like every single member of the jury was too biased, just over the top.
Yeah. But I feel like that was for the movie, though.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention. I'm like, because I feel like they was trying to point out how imperfect the justice system is. Because even the judge said, it's like, hey, it's an imperfect system, but this is what we have to work with. Like the judge said that. And then the DA, well, no, she wasn't a DA. Was she not?
Talking about the prosecutor?
She wasn't a DA yet. Yeah, the prosecutor. Yeah. She was on the phone talking to dudes. She was like, oh yeah, he's got a record and this, that, and the other. So like, if I convict him, I become the DA. But then dude was like, if you lose, then so she's got extra motivation
to prosecute, which is
the thing that happens. I'm not denying that either. It just felt like I just don't like how everyone had the same narrative. Like everyone was like, this guy's a bad guy, so we don't really, you know what I mean? It's like every single person, every single person cannot have that same mindset.
Yeah. You know what made me angry?
I think so.
The one lady that was in there that was mad because she's like, I got kids to go back to and blah, blah, blah. And we sitting here talking about this. And I'm like, you got kids to go back to. So you ready just to send somebody off to prison for his life? So you can spend time with your kids?
Well, that was my problem with Justin at the end. He talking about, is that justice? I got a family. And I was like, yeah.
We're gonna talk about it.
And I was like, so you're better than him because you got a wife and kids? He's talking about, how was that justice? And I was like, excuse you? Right. And that's when I started wishing he died in a fire. Because I was just
at the very end. Yeah,
I was just like, excuse you? Like, what makes you better?
Yeah, no, he was not justified at the end. So we'll talk about the second layer. So the second layer is that juror number 2, Justin. As he's recounting the events, he remembers hitting something on that bridge. Now, it was raining very heavily, and it's hard to see. It's slippery out there. He was crying because they had just lost their twins.
It was their 1 year anniversary.
The anniversary of them losing their twins. So yes, he wasn't drunk.
Right.
Yeah, because he didn't drink.
Because he was an alcoholic.
He used to be an alcoholic, but he went to the bar because he couldn't deal, but he backed out of it, which is fine. Like it happened. That's human nature.
Yeah.
He didn't drink, but he hit something. He didn't know what it was. I don't blame him for this section because he got out of his car. He looked around. He looked off the bridge. Didn't see anything.
Yeah.
So he figured he hit a deer and moved on. Now, even in his case, if his case was to trial, I would still say, even though it looks like he may have, I don't think there's enough evidence for him either, unless you have her DNA on his car.
That is one of my issues with this, is because, I guess we're going to stop all over nitpicks while we talk about this movie, is that 1 year later, he should have just stepped forward because they cannot prove that he killed the girl. There's it's been too long.
Now, he was advised against it by his lawyer.
His lawyer was awful.
No, but I think his lawyer was right.
Nope, he wasn't.
I feel like his lawyer was right, too.
I feel like he was right. He's just based off of what we see, what they were doing to James, who had weak sauce evidence against him.
Yes.
If they got wind that he used to be an alcoholic and he left the bar, you were driving drunk. You were driving drunk. We don't care what you say. You were driving drunk. You were driving drunk.
You would have to prove that he wasn't.
Here's the thing. You would still have to prove that he was drunk that night a year ago. You cannot prove something that happened in the past.
So reasonable doubt.
There's already that. And that's what I'm saying. See, there's no way to prove it.
And there's no way to prove it he didn't hit a deer.
And there's no way to prove he didn't hit a deer. There's no way to prove he actually hit her. And I looked it up. So his lawyer said he would get a vehicular homicide. It can't be homicide. He didn't mean to hit the girl.
Yeah,
so it has to be manslaughter.
Yeah, even if you're drunk, it's manslaughter.
Even with his priors. All right, that's 5 to 20 max. But then they would have to prove that he was drinking while driving. It was something other than an accident. Nothing happens to him. And the only thing that does is help the defendant, because now he has reasonable doubt that someone else stepped up and said, I was on that bridge. Something happened on that bridge. They can't prove that Justin did anything. They can't prove that he didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing
So it becomes
happens.
a mistrial.
His lawyer is a bad lawyer. I'm sorry.
Well, so, but I think you're right on the surface, just like with James. You have too much doubt to convict him. And for Justin, I think there's too much doubt to convict him. Even watching the movie, even though it's pointing to, he probably hit her, I'd say it's probably a 70% chance that he actually did.
He did
hit her.
for sure.
But there's too much missing. He could have actually hit a deer. The old man says he saw the person get out at that time that the coroner said she died, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the old man's an unreliable witness. He could have hit a deer on that bridge and she fell down on her own.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, there's too much doubt. So I wouldn't even convict him. However, that does not mean a jury, because that's what his lawyer was getting at. I think his lawyer knows that there is reasonable doubt and he should get off, but if you get the wrong jury, they're just gonna go on. I think he came from a bar. He was obviously drunk.
This doesn't even go to trial.
It shouldn't, but
how
many trials have we seen in real life go to trial?
Like, this doesn't, because you can't prove anything, right? There's no evidence that she got hit by his car unless there's an arm underneath the undercarriage or something. And it's been a year, so you know what I mean? Yeah. You can't prove that he was drinking that night. Yeah.
And
you can't prove he was
ME's
drunk.
Report.
Hey, all I'm saying
is... And the ME is an idiot.
Someone's going to trial now because they're saying they made a credible threat to an insurance worker. To me, that shouldn't go to trial. Okay, but
that's something completely different, though. Okay. Because that is your determination of whether something else is a threat or not. Here, we talking about causing someone physical harm.
Okay.
You will have to prove that he actually caused this person harm. Even if it went to trial, I would think, juries convict and not convict on stupider reasons. But I have a hard time believing that we will get 12 people as dumb as the 12 people we got in this movie.
Oh God, man, they were dense.
You know what I mean? Like, there's some people are intelligent somehow. Even J.K. Simmons, like, he was a cop, right? He doesn't really even speak up until the very, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was just like, oh, he should have took the plea deal. And I'm like, I'm sorry. If you have issues with this thing, you need to start speaking up. He wasn't even going to say anything.
Yeah, because you all to agree. So you should go not guilty, or we need to talk about it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, everyone in this jury was just odd for no reason.
Well, the one guy had...
the angry guy?
The black dude.
Yeah.
Who was just angry?
So he was angry because he had a gang tattoo.
Oh, yeah, because he had a gang
tattoo. So he's like,
this
like person, he's a bad person. He needs to go to jail. And it's like...
He was clearly...
And then the other guy, he made a good point. He was just like, people can change.
But people kept saying that. Oh, like that's when I got mad at his wife. And I'm like, you can die with him. She's like, well, he's a bad guy. So, like, basically get over it. And I was like, excuse you?
When she was mad because he missed the ultrasound or something like that. Because he was still in jury duty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like, well, can't we convince these two people? And he was like, I'm one of the two people saying not guilty. And then she's like, why? And then I'm like, because I don't think he's guilty. Yeah. Do you want me to send an innocent person to jail?
Yeah, well, you could be. That was the first time she said it. And then the second time was towards the end of the movie. She's like, well, he was a bad guy. And I'm like, but he didn't commit this crime. Drug dealers, first of all, there are worse things than drug dealers. Let's get over ourselves.
Oh, no. Drug dealers are the worst. That's why they're all in prison. It's horrible.
Let's get over ourselves. I don't care. And then, they're like, oh, he cleaned up. Even if he didn't, doesn't matter. Do not care. He didn't commit.
You don't go to jail.
This crime.
He
didn't commit this crime. Yeah. He could be freaking Pablo Escobar. Do not care.
You have to get him for that.
For what he did. Yeah.
Not for this.
Jail for a crime he did.
Oh, well, you did this over here, so let's pin this on you. Like, no, that's not how it works.
That's not how that works. I don't care which is why you're not supposed to bring up prior bad acts.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Another thing the jury was doing, he has a gang tattoo. Don't care. And like, what bubble are y'all dummies living in?
That is what a jury is gonna.
Yeah, there were several people on this jury that I'm like, well, you're biased and you need to speak up. Like, him judging him based on, he saw the tattoo on him and immediately said he's guilty. That's a problem. You're biased because you're not basing your verdict on the facts of the case, which is what you're supposed to do. Same thing. with a few of the other people on here. There were the one guy and girl. They barely had a part in it, but he was abusive because he grabbed her.
Right.
Her arm, I guess.
I was like, excuse you?
Like, get these two out.
He grabbed her arm. He was abusive. He needs to go to jail. And it's like, okay, even if you think he's abusive in that relationship, did he kill her in this situation is what we are supposed to be talking about.
You assumed he was abusive because I guess he's in a gang and you saw them arguing. That does not make him
that's not
abusive
though.
Right. Being a drug dealer does not make you a woman beater.
Right.
Those are not one and the same. And it's just, there's so many people who just kept saying that and saying that. Or even the angry black guy, he was just like, I mean, he left her there and he shouldn't have done that. You're right, he shouldn't have left her.
But that's not,
again, that doesn't make him responsible for her death.
We had the story of him and her arguing all the time. She always leaves and then end up they coming back and they're fine like the next day. So what probably happened, because he did follow after her first and he was like, look, this is going to blow over tomorrow, whatever. I'm going to go home. Right? Okay. That's probably what happened. Do you deserve to go to prison for life?
No, because it's just like, because if she had came across an axe murderer, would he be blamed for that murder? Like, no, he shouldn't have left her. Of course it was not the responsible thing to do. You shouldn't let your girlfriend or wife walk around in a storm.
Yeah.
But that does not make him responsible for her death.
Right.
So I'm like, that was stupid for him. People kept bringing that up too. I was like, okay, he shouldn't have left her, but that doesn't make him responsible for what happened to her.
No, it don't. But when you got people, when people are people, as I'm sure you know what I mean. When you have an argument at a bar that everybody sees, and you go outside and it kind of escalates. If you're the last person that they saw going the same direction that she went, and something happens, they're gonna blame
the man. Yeah,
like they're going to.
But see, that's where the prosecutor. I mean, you went to law school and all of that. Simply heading in the same direction does not mean I later beat you to death.
Exactly. Reasonable people know that.
Yeah,
but
because our house is this way, so we kind of got to head in the same direction.
Also, the prosecutor was putting it as if he beat her up and then threw her off a bridge. But
evidence did not support that.
The report is she has a blunt force trauma. Blunt force trauma.
Yeah,
and then obviously she fell.
Yeah.
That was it. So I'm like, where are you getting beat up from? I'm like, this hyperbole you're using, obviously trying to get the jury to envision this vicious person.
That was her whole thing, though.
But that's your job. But then that's his also job to be like his lawyer's job to say not happening, right? No. If he beat this girl up as bad as you saying, he should have cuts and stuff all over his hands, right? Like you can't punch someone in the face without also damaging your hands.
Right. The skull is very hard.
It's very hard, right? You're gonna cut your skin. You're gonna be bruised up. All of that. None of those things, right? Even the med student girl was like 2 equal breaks on her clavicle. It's like, that's not gonna happen like that unless one solid hit.
One solid hit on top of her head.
Yeah.
Which tells me she was bent over, which is probably
she
why
said that she would have been bent over.
Yeah.
Probably why Justin didn't see her.
Well, I mean, even
I took it as that she probably was throwing up over the side of the bridge.
Could be.
And she was launched over.
Could be, but it's like, we drove and where you can barely see, where your wipers can't keep up. You hope there's nothing in the way.
Yeah.
Right.
I have almost hit a deer like that.
Dark road. Like it wasn't like it was street lights everywhere.
Yes, it's a country dark road. Yeah. So him he could very well have hit her because she's walking in the storm. No one can see. Like those things happen. And I don't see the one of the first things I wrote is like, how do you confuse a hit and run with a beating? Those are 2 very different things.
I did have a question mark about that.
It just didn't make any sense.
True.
No, they're trying to say the ME had like a bunch of autopsies.
Doesn't matter. I mean, was he also blind?
Oh, so like he was off his game by this time? Like, okay.
Yeah, the 2 broken clavicles should have given.
Yeah, because I'm like, the cuts and bruises on her was from the fall.
Yeah, there was nothing, at least from what they're showing us, nothing.
Well, they even argued in the courtroom that the blunt force trauma could have come from her fall, couldn't it? Yeah. And then he's like,
who said her head was like...
Yeah, I was like, how is that unlikely when she fell on rocks? So you're telling me, how is it unlikely her skull gets damaged by falling onto rocks? And you're saying she got beat in the head with it.
Right.
Like, get out of here.
Yeah, because it even was like, okay, this guy has on hiking shoes.
Yeah.
And it was like, he said it was slippery.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, well, look at the shoes she had on. And it was pouring down rain.
Yeah.
So why, it was like, she couldn't have slipped and fall?
It's not likely, but possible.
Yeah, just
Very possible.
That's what I'm saying. Like, everyone in this movie was just dumb.
Which is reasonable doubt.
That is reasonable doubt.
Right? I'm going to need you to
Very
give me
much
some
so.
evidence that he was there
There was no.
right then, besides some old dude 100 feet away looking through the rain, through trees, with no streetlights.
I'd be surprised that wasn't a defense unless I just missed it. Like, wouldn't he come out
He
like,
that is my
I would've
question.
he could
crossed
barely
examined
see
him.
driving.
Yeah, that
But
was
yet
in,
you, from whatever distance you were, somebody
Saw
brought up the
through
trees. Like, you
pouring
saw through
rain.
trees and pouring rain enough to identify this person
Yeah.
Mhm.
and say that he was sitting right there. Not only that, but when they asked you if he was in the courtroom, you looking all over the place. And then you
Yeah.
finally land on the...
Yeah, because you don't know what he looks like.
Because you don't really know.
'Cause
Yeah,
you
I'm
don't
like,
know.
how would you know? I don't even think if it wasn't raining in that situation, I would be able to know what the person looks like. You're going to see a shadow of a person.
Yeah,
I
shadow of a
may
person.
be able to give you his height and his hair color.
You
That's
give
it,
him
if
his
that.
race, and I was like, they're not
Yeah.
even the same size.
Right.
And
But,
yet,
Same
but
build,
the
not the
police,
same
but that was
size.
that tunnel vision because he said the police came to his door and
Mhm.
basically it was like, "This is the guy. Is this
Oh.
who you saw?"
Yeah, they
And
didn't
it's
show
like,
him anybody else.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that happens, and I know for
Mhm.
sure. So I'm not doubting that that's something that happens. But my thing is, and I was like, did his lawyer not cross-examine the old man?
He did not.
Because one of the very first things you would do is find out how you identified the defendant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That would have came up during my cross-examine. And also, as you said, Dan, it was raining. How could you be so clear that you're 100, 200 feet away that you could see someone through a driving storm and you could see what this man, exactly what this man looked like, when, by the way, he was looking over the bridge railing.
Yeah, away
Yes.
from
Away from
And then my thing is, if you could see his face and you could see his car, what does his car look like?
Yeah, I was like, they didn't talk about the cars, which I thought was weird
Mhm.
because it's like you're saying he followed her in the car, and the guy said, "I saw someone get out of a car."
Mm-hmm.
What car? That's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah.
They didn't
and
have the
soon
same
as
car.
He say he couldn't tell what car it is. I
Unreliable.
would have been like,
Throw it out.
so how you know that this is mine?
Right.
Yeah,
you couldn't
I
see
was
the
like,
car, but you can see the person.
You don't
Yeah.
know what car it is, but you can see the
Hmm?
details on a person's face.
enough
Oh.
to pick him out of a lineup, which means if you can
Mhm.
see his face that clearly, you can see his car that clearly.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if I was like, did he not cross-examine him, or did they just not show us
I
that?
don't remember
I
him
don't know.
cross-examining.
They didn't show it. So I'm just wondering, you're a bad lawyer if you don't cross-examine this
Yeah,
old
definitely.
man.
horrible if you didn't. Like that would have been probably would have
Yeah,
been a turning
yeah.
point
I was
for
like, that witness would have been discredited.
you.
Oh,
tore
all
him
day
up. I'm
long.
like,
Mhm.
All day long.
crackety crack. Let me go. Let me go.
Yeah, I was like waiting for it. But I felt like this movie was kind of like, I watched this lawyer show once where you could tell the writing where they just wanted the rookie lawyer to show up the seasoned veteran.
Mhm.
So it was like all these things, and I'm like poking holes, and I'm like, none of this stuff makes any sense. So I felt like this movie was kind of that. It was just like, oh boy, what's his name? Eric is like, he has to go to jail.
Mhm.
So we were doing all of these things to make sure like they're gonna just find him guilty anyways. And I just kind of felt like what this movie was.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if a
No.
lot of trials went that way though.
I mean, no, I'm not
Because-
denying that at all. But I just felt like this was just way too over the top.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nobody's excited about
I'm
Jury
going
Duty.
to talk about Justin and his actions. Now, given the advice he was given to by a professional,
A bad professional, but sure.
I mean, yeah, agreed. Whether it's good advice or not, it doesn't matter. Like, he trusted
Well, he
the
was
lawyer.
also his AA coach.
I'm not gonna say.
Is that what he was? Is that what
yeah,
that was?
Yeah.
that was his
Okay.
sponsor.
So,
I mean, I know you're getting free law advice, but find a better lawyer.
yeah. So, I might have gone to trial like, okay, I'm going to try and get them to get a not guilty verdict.
Agreed.
I was kind of with him
Yeah.
on that.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we get a hung jury in a mistrial,
Mm-hmm.
that's better.
Mm-hmm.
But by the end of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
he changes his
Yeah.
verdict to guilty so he can end
So you just end up-
everything.
yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, hold on. So you know that this person didn't kill her, and you are probably the person that did,
Mhm.
and you just gonna let this man go to jail.
Yeah, to basically just be done with it. He was all over the place.
And
like,
we
it just
know
didn't make
he
any sense.
knows because remember that scene they showed of him seeing him turn his SUV around and drive back past him? Like, okay, so you absolutely know.
You know he didn't
that
do
he's
it.
innocent.
Yeah. Yeah. He was all over the place. Like, it didn't make it like all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm going to make sure not guilty. And I was just like, I'm over it. He could just be
didn't
guilty
even have to
because I'm the
mention-
better man. It's
He didn't
basically
even
what
have
he
to
said.
mention
Basically.
running into something
Mhm.
that night.
Right.
Because obviously if he didn't let it go further, the cop wouldn't have done the research on the cars and nobody would have thought about her being hit by a car, right?
Mhm.
All he had to do is after that first day come out and say, hey, I remember this night and like new evidence being presented. I came from that bar and I saw him turn around and drive the other way. He couldn't have killed her.
Yes.
That's new evidence. He's a new witness.
Yes.
Yep.
And then they will have to come up with a new trial.
Yes,
for
this
it.
movie should have been a half an hour long.
That's
Because
all.
Then
I
it's
was
not a
thinking the
movie.
same thing. Like, you don't
It's
have
a sitcom.
You don't have to. You'd be like, literally, like, I saw him drive away in the opposite direction. I was on my way home, and I saw easy is done and over with. Like, all of this extra stuff just did not have to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He didn't think of doing that. So I'm still on board when he's trying to get everybody to go not guilty.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. But man, once he at the end changed his verdict, I'm like, bro, no.
Nigga, well, you're whack.
Mhm.
Because if it gets to a point where they're gonna send this man to jail, then I'm just gonna come forward. Like I'm not gonna.
Yeah, you like how you know what I mean. Like, you do all of that, and you're like, okay, we're still voting guilty. Then you have to step up
Yep.
and
Yeah.
do the right thing, which I guess was basically what the DA lady was saying. And then that's when he went on this whole speech about I got a family and blah blah blah. How was that really justice? Because he was a criminal, and is that justice? And he walked away like he did something, and I'm like, can an Escalade hit this guy or something? Like, what the heck?
I'm not sending someone to prison for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
do that.
Ugh.
Even if that means I have to go to jail for a little bit for a mistake I made. And you'd be like, well, I got a kid to take care of. Okay, but I'm not going to ruin someone else's life for that.
Yeah, but it's like,
You know?
it's still your actions. Your actions cost this girl's life.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you got a family, but so does she, and so does Eric.
Mm-hmm.
So do a lot of
He
people
even
that are in
explained that
jail right now.
when he was trying to get people to go not guilty.
Yeah, so I'm like, your life is not better than anyone else's.
Honestly, after they laid everything out, I don't even understand. Okay, fine. I'm
Mhm.
gonna stand with them being idiots wanting to get out and just trying to make it guilty.
Yeah.
But once they started deliberating, I'm like, how are there still people standing in here going guilty? Like,
Mhm.
Well,
how?
the one guy, like the black guy, he just had his mind made up. And
Yeah.
He said
You weren't gonna change his mind.
That's
He was like,
okay.
I'm
Someone
gonna change my
should have
verdict.
brought that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone should have brought that up to the judge. It was like
Mhm.
he's biased
Yeah.
Mhm.
and got
Yeah.
him taking it off the jury.
Yeah. Well, even then, like, okay, at the very least, it's still a mistrial.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then we just have a mistrial. Because despite what his dumb lawyer said, they're not retrying this case. Because
No.
it just, why? It doesn't make
Yeah,
any
it
sense.
shouldn't have been gone to trial. in the
Because I
first
was like,
place. And then
if he comes forward, they're going to declare a mistrial. They still have to gather up evidence to prove that he did it.
It's not happening.
and you don't have enough evidence.
And
to
you don't
prove
have
that he
enough
did it.
evidence for that either.
So he was saying it like they need somebody to pin this on. So like they're going to find somebody.
Well, that's
depending
also I
on to
feel
close
like
the case
should this case have been something different? You know what I mean? It's like they was like, oh, then this is like a career maker for her, and I'm like, this is not a
It's
career
not really
making.
a high profile case.
It's not a
though.
high
I think
profile
they had a
case.
hard time coming up with a situation that was an accident for the main character because it had to
Right.
be an accident. It couldn't be that he murdered her
Right.
and then now he's on the jury. It had to be an accident, and so I think they just had a hard time coming.
But
up
you know
with
what
a
I mean?
situation.
Like, but it's like this is not a high profile case.
Mhm.
Like, she doesn't make her career off of this case, you know?
Right.
So it's just kind of like, this is not.
oh yeah, you could have did the same thing and just made it a high profile person.
Yeah, that would have been better.
Yeah.
That would have been
True.
better if she was like a senator's wife or daughter or
Yeah.
something like
Mhm.
that. Where it's just like, oh my God, you know,
Yeah,
when
someone
rich
has
people
to go to-
die,
yeah.
someone has to pay for
And
it.
someone
Problem
has
when
to go
rich
to
people
jail for
die.
this.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Mhm.
that might have been made it a little bit
And
better.
then they would have had tunnel vision on the husband
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
or the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, that might have made it a little bit. It would've been
Actually,
a little more
all of this
believable.
would have made a bit more sense. The jury, everything would have made
Yeah.
more sense because it's
Yeah.
high profile.
Yeah.
Then it just would have been a Law and Order SVU episode.
Yeah.
Dun, dun.
Yeah, but at least those episodes have good endings.
So yeah, I'm like, I don't. How do you? I couldn't live with myself sending someone.
Yeah.
I think it's
See, he said that, and when he went out the door, and now all of a sudden everything changed. He was like,
Exactly.
I did this, that, and the other. I got to live with that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. Well, maybe he's gonna go
Yeah.
here and see this thing, and he'll be like, hey, I can't,
Yeah, I expected. I'm like, is he gonna say something?
No.
Yeah.
I don't know how that affects anything, but is he gonna say something?
Yeah,
now,
at that point,
obviously, the prosecutor by the end of the movie decides that she's going to pursue this because she shows up at his house. But it's too
even
late
still,
now.
like, I'm like,
there's
If
nothing.
you know anything about our stupid system, even if she gets to prosecute him on this murder and he goes to prison, guess what? The boyfriend stays in jail.
prison.
But here's
Why?
my thing.
I don't know. That's real stupid.
But my thing is, it's not even gonna get that far because there's nothing to prove that Justin did it.
Yeah.
So even if she investigated and proved that he was on the bridge, it doesn't help old boy get out of jail.
Honestly,
He's
you
in
can't
jail
even prove
regardless.
that he was on the bridge. You can prove he was at the bar. You can prove that he fixed his car
And that's it.
around that time, but that's it. You don't have anything
Right.
else. No eyewitnesses.
So
nothing
her
saying
going
he was
through
on
all
the
of
bridge.
that doesn't. Dude still stays in jail for life. Justin still gets to walk away free. Nothing is going to change that. Unless there is a piece of scalp underneath that dude's car.
Which he got it fixed.
yeah, it's got to fix
A year ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's done.
Yeah, there's just nothing is going to change that. So this was just like, dude, come on.
This case is dead. And
It's-
I understand you want justice, but like her murder goes unsolved,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or not even murder. It was manslaughter.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it goes unsolved.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
it's better than sending someone to jail.
Yeah.
An innocent person.
Yeah, because that's also not justice.
Yeah, that's not justice.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just the. All right, we found somebody to pin it on.
I'm
So
glad they
Yeah.
didn't
It's a
have a
fake
death
victory.
penalty.
Oh, don't Georgia got the death penalty?
I think Georgia does.
Oh.
Georgia.
I think they do. I know
It's the
Texas
South.
does.
like Texas.
Well,
yeah, I'm
we know
about to
Texas
say
do.
it's like Texas. That's gonna be for everything.
Hmm?
So yeah. All right. Do you have movie facts?
I have two.
Okay.
Random movie facts. Movie facts.
So since someone wanted to be all extra, the victim, Kendall Carter, was Clayton Swift's daughter.
Oh, we knew that already.
That's the first time I'm hearing it.
Really?
Yeah.
No, because remember Derek told us earlier. You remember? You remember that? Remember
Yeah.
you brought it up? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember.
You remember?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for reminding us.
You're welcome. Okay.
I forgot.
Last movie fact. This was only released in 50 theaters in the U.S.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, not
Yeah, 'cause
surprised.
I was like, I don't remember seeing
I like
anything
never.
about
Yeah.
this.
Apparently, there was like articles like they kind of buried the release or whatever. And I
Why?
was just, I don't know. It was.
I think it would have made money.
I think so. It
Yeah.
was directed by Clint Eastwood, so I don't know.
Yeah.
They were just like, we don't think this movie's going to make any money or whatever, so it didn't get a wide release. And then, like, immediately showed up on HBO.
It's interesting. I like movies like this.
Yeah.
Like, multiple layers to the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I was like, it made me angry and think.
Yeah, I mean-
So, I mean, and I did a lot of writing when I was watching this movie.
I was just yelling at my screen. What?
Yeah, I did say that a few times. Like, wait, what? Huh?
Yeah.
Hold up. How you gonna say that?
All
Like,
right. Are you ready for my nitpicks? We still got
Yeah.
some I didn't touch
Nitpicks.
on.
pick some nits. Pick some nits.
So I feel like if this case is so high profile and a career maker like they said it was, I don't think it is that kind of case, but since in the movie universe it is,
Yeah.
there's no way he's unaware of this case then. Because even if you don't watch the news, right? Like I don't watch the news, but high profile news still gets to me. Even
Right.
initially I'd be like, yeah, I don't care. You keep hearing stuff about it, but like, okay, what the heck is happening?
Yeah. Okay. So he may hear about it, but I don't think that means he knows the exact details of like the
If
day
it's
and
so
stuff.
high profile, I say he does. Now remember,
Okay.
this is supposed to be a big deal, right?
Okay.
They were all acting like it's a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, it says in the caption, high profile case.
Yeah.
Oh.
So if that's the case, then he knows they found a body on the bridge, and he would be like, "Hey,
Oh
I
yeah.
was on that bridge."
Oh, so he would have known before the case.
He would have had to have known before the case even happened.
Okay, good point.
Mm-hmm.
Lest he be that oblivious.
It's impossible. Even when I don't care about stuff, like I don't want to say.
Oh,
I'll bring it up a recent case. I was like, I don't care, but then I keep hearing stuff about it. I'm like, okay, let me just find out what happened.
Okay, before you get to the rest of it, the first like 2 scenes of this movie is like completely pointless.
What was the first 2 scenes? Him waking up in the morning.
Yeah, and I know you get that in movies, and them having the baby shower, I guess. I don't know what it was. It was just a bunch of people standing outside their house while they were on the porch.
Oh, I guess.
And they said thank you, and that was it. And then I was like, what?
It was a baby shower because we were just like, oh, they're early, and I guess everyone arrived at the same time early.
Yeah, I guess it showed that he was in a loving relationship, but I don't think the status of his relationship was important for.
I guess that's why I feel like were we supposed to be rooting for him? I guess supposed to show him like this caring family man. They struggled. They lost a baby.
But we would have got that later on.
That's what they were showing.
First 2 scenes didn't need it. We could have started with him showing up for jury duty.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like I feel like this movie was about a half an hour too long.
Yeah.
So we already talked about how he should have just came forward and odds are nothing would have happened to him. I think we already talked about how the Emmy is a dummy. That you do not confuse a car accident with a beaten by the human.
He
just
definitely
doesn't
got
make any
hit by a
sense.
car. What was he going? Like, this is a country road? 50 miles an hour maybe or something?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, it was raining. Maybe he was going slower. 35.
Okay, either way, he had a Toyota 4Runner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
35 miles an hour. Yeah.
She's hunched over.
Yeah.
You going
The way the bones
like
that are
he
broken,
didn't see
that
her,
is not blood.
she didn't see him either. Yeah.
Yeah, the bones that are broken is not no person beating you up. Yeah, that medical examiner.
Yeah.
Horrible.
And those Toyota 4Runner from that year
It was a
were
96.
solid.
It was a 96. They were still making cars out of metal back then.
Solid. Yeah, instead of paper mache.
Yeah.
That's why only the bumper was broken.
Yeah.
Right, it wasn't a whole lot
No,
that he
it's
had to
just
do
his
to that truck.
headlight. The bumper wasn't the headlight.
Like, it wasn't a whole lot he had to do to that truck.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she got cracked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. You getting hit by that thing, you're not going to confuse that with a fist.
No.
No,
Like at all.
Or even a bat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did
Like-
have a problem with that. I'm like,
Because
are
they
we-
kept saying blunt for object, and I kept on saying
What
to
object?
the TV, what?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
where is it? Did y'all find anything?
Like the ME should have a description, like
Yeah, round,
wood,
circular, something.
circular.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that goes back to your point of it shouldn't have gone to trial without a murder weapon. I'm like, how do you send this to trial?
Yeah, because you
Without a
couldn't
murder
be like, oh, we couldn't find it, but you can't even tell me what kind of murder weapon. Even if I couldn't
can't
find
cry
that,
murder without a murder weapon.
Right.
Even
Y'all
if it was
can't furnish
fists,
a
it
murder
wasn't
weapon?
fists.
yeah,
It can't be fist because the front of a car is a lot bigger than a fist.
That's
Just
what I'm saying.
harder.
it's huge. Like you
And
have
she
to tell
would
me.
have had those kind of marks on her.
Yeah, what kind of object hit this girl? You could
Mm-hmm.
even tell me if it was round, circular, square shaped.
Mhm.
Something would be like, oh, okay, it must have been a baseball bat and he was a baseball player. Something like that. Something to kind of tie it all in or something.
But you talking about metal, like
Yeah.
sharp edges of metal, glass maybe, like sharp edges of something, not rounded, like this is gonna leave bruises and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
dark bruises and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get hit by a car, like there's gonna be some cuts,
cracked
deep
open.
cuts.
Yeah.
Her head had to be cracked open,
Well,
like her skull.
Didn't
Yeah,
they said it
easy.
was? Didn't they?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but like when she landed on the rock, like her
Yeah.
head was on the rock.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, all right, I don't know if they were blaming that just on the fall.
Well, they could say saying
Or-
he threw her off, but it was like it's just bad all the way around.
It is.
It's just-
And then,
everybody
bad.
did bad.
So when they went to visit the scene,
Mm-hmm.
the entire jury,
Mm-hmm.
which was unorthodox, and then
It happens. They do
dude
it okay.
was, oh yeah, that's right, they did do it okay. But like dude was the black dude was talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Hey man, I think you're playing us." You know what I'm saying? I think yada yada yada. And then he almost slips and falls off the,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? And he grabs him. I'm
Yeah.
like, but only you two. This is only between you two. Like this doesn't go any further than y'all two.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't really know why they showed that detail.
Right.
Well,
Because that's
and it
what
didn't make
got him
sense.
to change his verdict to guilty, which I'm like,
Which doesn't make any sense. So my thing is, visiting the scene even puts more doubt into the evidence that was presented in front
Right,
of you.
because he almost
Yeah, I
slipped and
was-
fell
And
over.
then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
everyone votes guilty after going to the scene, which will only prove that something didn't happen the way you said it did.
Yeah.
Doesn't make
Yeah,
any sense.
that doesn't make sense at all.
This was a dumb jury.
Just dumb.
It was a dumb jury.
Okay.
Then like if you would have cut away, it's like his eyes were like glowing orange. It was like, all right. And it went back and it was like completely shaded. I'm like, this must have been filled at 2 different times. But
yeah.
I couldn't get over that. I'm like, his eyes were just beaming like Cyclops.
I didn't notice.
And then-
no, his eyes was really bright.
Like really bright. Like the sun, I'm surprised he had his eyes wide open. Sun was hitting him like dead in the face.
Okay. So a couple of more evidence things that we didn't already talk about. Why did the defendant mention that he saw a car driving in the opposite direction? Because he turned around and passed Justin coming towards his girlfriend.
That was before he got to the bridge. He turned around before the bridge.
I know.
Yeah, but still, that would have been a part
That
of
would
his
have
story.
been a part of his story. Like, I turned around and there was a car
Oh,
heading.
yeah, the defendant. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
But he never mentioned.
I would have, because it would look, I wasn't on the bridge, but there was definitely a car headed in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been that guy.
That's another bit of doubt you would have put in this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in his situation, you want to throw as much doubt out there as you possibly can.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is your lawyer's job.
True.
Yeah, if someone else did it.
True. He should have.
Yeah. Also, and I feel like one thing to me that just kind of ends this all. I keep calling him is Eric. I'm assuming that guy's name really was Eric. If not, his name is Eric today.
Oh,
The defendant.
James.
Oh, his name was James?
Yeah.
I called him Eric like 20 times and no one said anything.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Because Eric is very close to James.
It is. Okay.
Close.
Well, whatever.
That's because the defender was Eric.
The lawyer.
Oh, the
Yeah.
lawyer was Eric.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. Anyways, wouldn't his location data prove that he turned around and wasn't on the bridge?
Oh, yeah. This is a modern movie, so
Right?
you could use the location data from the phone.
Right? Like, my location data tells me everywhere I went today.
They only use location data when they're catching criminals, not to prove someone's innocence. Now, come on.
You know what I mean? It'd prove like, oh yeah, I didn't even make it to the bridge. It would show me driving that way, turning around, and going home.
True. Another missed opportunity.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it tells you exactly what you did that day. Okay. That was my last bit of the evidence just doesn't work. More nitpicks. And then like this ended up not going anywhere and I thought it would. Cause Justin started Googling like man
Like, what if I killed, or what if you killed
yeah,
somebody? I'm
on like
is your
his work
history?
computer.
Is your history
On
not
his
going to
work
be
computer.
On his
But
work computer.
nobody's looking at it. though.
And but then they also show like there was a checkbox like, do you want to open this page when you come back? And I
Right.
really
He
thought
did
that was gonna-
uncheck the
He
box.
did uncheck
Like,
the box.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, and I thought it was going to lead somewhere, but it
Yeah, I thought that
didn't.
was going to come up
And
later.
it should
but,
have,
like,
but
no.
it didn't.
Now, when she tries to prosecute him, that might help her.
Yeah. Okay.
If she thinks to look at that.
You don't Google things, people.
Don't
Like,
Google
oh my
Especially not at
God.
work.
Everybody Google, how do you get rid of a dead body? Don't do that.
Like a few days before.
We can't be. It's like that is how
Like,
lately
come on, man.
I've been watching true crime, and then like 99% of the time, how they get somebody was like they Googled how to bury daughter's body. I'm like, why did you put daughter's
Bruh.
body in it? Like,
Yeah. How would I, Jonathan Mitchell, bury my daughter's body? Like, what? What is wrong with y'all, man?
What melts a body?
but that is
Hey,
literally-
if
Asking
you need
for
to
a friend.
find that out, go to the library and get an encyclopedia or something. Don't check
Like
it
something
out.
that they can't trace.
Don't
Yeah.
check
Yeah,
it
just
out.
read the book while you're there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something that they can't trace.
Yeah, don't start Googling. One dude Googled stuff about his car. Like, what if the air conditioning stopped working in my Acura? Like, bruh. Well, now we know you did it.
Right. How many bodies fit into a trunk?
Asking for a friend.
Yeah. So yeah, stop Googling things. Okay.
At least go incognito mode.
right?
Yeah, that does nothing.
Yeah.
At least it's slightly better.
It's slightly
You
better.
don't have a search history on your computer.
But the web,
Oh, it's definitely
Your
it's
ISP
out there.
somewhere,
Your
yeah.
ISP can still
Yeah.
knows what you did.
Always use a VPN.
Use a VPN. Your ISP still knows what you did.
Yes.
Really? I thought it was supposed to hide that.
No.
No, it hides your IP address.
I don't think anything's completely hidden.
Hmm.
No,
Well,
it's not.
Well, one.
okay, so you can.
Tell
Don't.
us.
Don't.
Go.
Mm-mm-mm.
Okay, so you can use a.
Mm-mm. 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 Mm-mm.
First of all, don't do things on your personal computer or your work computer.
No, actually, if you use a VPN,
It should help.
I think it hides it from your ISP.
We're speculating. We don't know.
No, it doesn't.
This
It
is
doesn't.
all
Yeah,
speculation.
this is all speculation. We're just
It doesn't hide it from
assuming.
your ISP.
Yeah.
So
This is all hypothetical.
listen,
Don't sound so confident.
if you, I didn't commit a crime. I'm fine.
Okay, yeah, but
Hypothetically.
yeah, hypothetically.
Hypothetically,
Mm-hmm.
if someone were to do something, if you use a Tor browser, that is the dark web, everyone.
Yes, we
Oh,
got
yeah.
it. We got
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you use that browser, first activating a VPN, so you activate a VPN, then open up a Tor browser. So your ISP cannot see what happens on the Tor browser, and the Tor browser doesn't know your IP address because you are using a VPN,
Mhm.
which has you covered. Also, don't Google how to bury a body.
Yeah, just don't.
I feel like I like Dan's idea. Just go to the library, hard copy pages, books.
True.
No one knows what
Don't
you
put
read.
it on your computer at all.
Yeah, no one knows what you read at the library.
Mhm.
Right.
You were just there.
Mhm.
No one was like, "Oh, he walked to the library today." You don't know what I did there.
Yeah, what did he do? We don't know.
No.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yes.
No evidence.
Yeah, put
So
this
that's
technology to the
also true,
side.
unless they got you on camera in the library reading the
Reading a book.
encyclopedia.
Yeah, we see he got that encyclopedia. Spent a long time on these pages. Even
That
took
actually
some,
might be worth
even
it.
took some notes.
Like, oh, he
Then they
went to
dust
the
those pages for
the
your
Bring
murder
your breath
section
out.
of the library.
Ah.
Okay, so here's what you do: watch Law and Order in Criminal Minds
Sure.
for about a year,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and then you learn some stuff
And Breaking Bad.
in Breaking Bad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you can just I just like watching these criminal shows. Lots of people
Yeah,
like
lots of
watching
people do.
Mhm.
Millions
that
of
doesn't
people do.
prove anything, right?
Agreed.
True.
And then you learn what you might be able to do.
That might help.
Netflix have a lot of Siri docs.
That is true. A lot of true crime.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Don't talk to the
learned-
police.
It's very
Don't
popular.
talk to the cops.
Don't
Yeah, I
talk.
don't have to help you with your investigation. It's not my job.
And
Yeah.
don't say things on the phone either. Because
Yeah,
that
don't-
person you
don't-
think
Oh
got
my
your
god,
phone.
how many people they got
Yes.
when they talking on the phone? One
The
guy was
Mendez
in
brothers.
jail talking to one of the girls wrote him letters, and then
Yep.
like, yeah, I did. I'm like, why would you? First of all, it's the jail phone. You didn't think that was recorded, you dummy.
It says it on there.
Yeah. They make it very obvious.
They
we
make it
record all
very
phone calls.
obvious.
It's like they're helping you in a way.
It says your phone call is not private. Everything that you say is being recorded.
Right.
Mhm.
So, don't
And can
incriminate
be
yourself.
used against you.
Yeah.
Like it says it.
And don't talk to your cellmate. I saw this one dude would have got a. It was like 2 years later. Then he bragged about killing this girl, and I was like, dude.
and your cellmate has incentive to rat you out because it probably
probably gonna be
lowers
good
the
for him, yeah.
sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he can go in and be like, hey,
Yeah, I got some
for a
information.
deal,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
help you out.
So the cops was like, oh, let's go run his fingerprints against the prints we found at the crime scene.
Dummy. Well,
Dummy. Would have got away with it. I mean, not that I wanted him to.
and-
I did not.
Okay. And same here. Before I say what I'm going to say, I don't want anybody to get away with.
Well, but
Doing what they're
whenever
not
you're watching
supposed to
something,
do.
you're always like, "Oh, do they get away with it?"
But
That's always the
we
angle.
live in a clout chasing society nowadays
Mhm.
to where you do something, you want recognition and credit for it,
mhm.
for a lot of things you shouldn't be doing in the first place.
I don't want recognition.
Then you go run into, see,
crime.
you don't, because we existed before social media.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we know what that's like. But the ones with social media, every time they do something, they got to go on there and, brag about it. Sometimes they be doing it on live.
Yeah.
Like, yo,
Okay. Yeah, so I did this on Instagram Live or something.
Yeah.
what?
And it's like, okay,
Why?
well, now
Right.
they know you did the crime.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, we'd like to present this to evidence.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they see your big ugly face on Facebook Live.
Like this one girl went live talking about how she just got out of a ticket when she was really drunk, but she convinced the cop that she wasn't drunk. And they're like, okay, well, now your crime is live. They can come back. You think they gotta ticket you when you're in the car?
Yeah, right. You think it's over now?
No, they just come to your house like you were drunk.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Clearly.
Why do you
We've got
have
evidence.
to brag about that? Why does everybody else have to know that?
Mhm.
because people are dumb.
Can't that just be your win?
Just take a win.
Yeah, just take your win.
Say it quietly to your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or just don't say it.
Don't say it at all.
Just don't. Like, why? I don't need to broadcast that. Like, oh man, something really good happened to me. Oh, I got away with this. No, I got to tell somebody. Like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You do not. Keep that to yourself. That's your little victory. Celebrate at home.
You
Go
know,
pop some
don't do
champagne
that.
or whatever.
Don't go to a McDonald's.
Seriously,
Don't.
just starve.
Of all places.
Especially when you only
McDonald's?
made it to one state over.
McDonald's.
Dude, DoorDash. They're not looking for you. You could just DoorDash. It's not like.
One of the
And
more
you can have them
popular
leave it at
places
the
that
door
there
and
is.
nobody sees your face.
One of the more popular places that there is, McDonald's.
Right.
McDonald's?
Yeah, where
She
there's
went to, like,
always
a-
someone.
She went to McDowell's.
Exactly.
Nobody's gonna expect you to go there.
Exactly.
Also, no, he shouldn't have done anything. He should have.
Why were you eating inside? Like,
Yeah,
are we
why
taking a
didn't
break?
you? How often do people even eat inside McDonald's anymore?
Besides
what are we
old
doing?
people?
Yeah, besides them,
I
they're
don't
there
know.
every morning.
I only eat inside like sometimes when my daughter has like a dentist appointment and she's not going to get lunch at her daycare when she comes back.
Yeah.
we'll sit down inside.
That's always like
Rare
a
occasions.
fun kid thing
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah, but
Just
as,
you.
as
He's
an
a
adult,
young adult.
why
Just
am I
you.
eating inside a fast food restaurant? Just never not doing it.
Even if I'm not gonna eat at home, I'm not gonna eat at the restaurant. I'm gonna go somewhere, like park in a parking lot or something randomly. Yeah, I'll eat there.
Yeah, especially they
I
charge you
don't-
taxes.
Or I'll
to eat
sit
there.
outside.
Yeah, I love saying, "Hey, I'll take it to go." Taking my bag right over that table. Then they be looking at you like,
Hey, because I'm not paying that extra 80 cents.
Right.
It's to
right.
go.
Y'all don't need that. Y'all don't even clean. Look at all this garbage around.
Exactly. Like,
I
if
ain't
I gotta
clean.
bust my own table,
Yeah.
you're not getting your extra money.
Wiping everything down. Y'all got wipes next to the tables now because y'all want us to do it ourselves.
Yeah, not happening.
Like, no, I ain't paying you for that.
You know what?
You think I ain't peep?
Not eat at McDonald's.
Not eat at McDonald's. And then just go like full on blackface. Just do it. Like, look, listen, okay? Not a crime, right?
Can we get back to the Netflix, please?
Okay, all right.
Because this is. I don't even want to know what your thought process is about this.
I'm just saying, you turn a hot. Okay, all right.
Okay.
Tune into our podcast, 3D Rivals After Dark, to hear the remainder of the story.
So at some point, J.K. Simmons was playing. He was a retired detective, and he's like, "Yo, I got a list of cars of everyone that had to get their car fixed." Blah blah blah. And he's like, "You can look at some, I can look at some, and we can narrow this down because the cops didn't do their job."
Mm-hmm.
So Justin like being all weird and stuff for no reason, and then he like drops all the papers was really weird. And
He was
obvious.
dropping everything all movie long.
Yeah.
Okay, no, so
And-
he did. It was obviously. So he did it because he didn't want to go over because his car's on the list. But right before then, J.K.
Yeah.
Simmons said, "Yo, your car is this one, right? So we can cross it off of the list."
Yeah, he was going to cross it
Yeah.
off.
Yes.
Just say that, yeah, this is my car, and he would have
Yes.
crossed it off the list.
So
Yeah.
yeah, what was he nervous about?
Yeah, because he flat out was like, because it couldn't have been you.
Yeah.
Right.
So that is my nitpick. It's like he already crossed you off the list. Just go with
Yeah,
it.
go with that.
Just
he was
go
such
with
a
it. It doesn't
freaking
make
nervous
sense.
wreck,
More
though.
obvious.
Yeah.
He was such a nervous
And
wreck.
so
I'm like,
that's
bruh.
why I thought we were gonna get more out of J.K. Simmons because now he's like, "What's up with this dude?" But
Mhm.
after that was just it.
right.
I feel like there were certain things where I felt like their story was gonna go someplace and then
And
it
it
didn't.
Yeah, because when he talked to the prosecutor even afterwards, he was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, man, you like he didn't kill that girl."
Yeah.
And she was like, she kind of looked like
well,
after
she
he
did
walked away.
start following up on it.
Yeah, you should
She
have done it the
did.
first time, but what else?
Well, I guess they never considered a hit and run.
I get tunnel vision by the cops or whatever, but you're
Which
the
was-
prosecutor.
yeah, I
Your
get
job
that,
is to
yeah.
make sure the evidence line up.
No, she just wanted.
Yeah, she just wanted
a
to win.
conviction.
Yeah, she just wanted to put
Yeah.
it away.
So, but I still thought we might get a little bit more at J.K. Simmons because now he's like, this guy's being sketchy. Let me
Nah,
look
we
into, you
ain't
know what
get
I
nothing.
mean? I thought we would get something like that, but we did. Okay, so then J.K. Simmons gets kicked off the jury for breaking the law, which I not surprising, but I kind of feel like they both get kicked off.
They should have.
They
I
should've.
feel like they both should have got kicked off. And then how do you not grant a mistrial? So maybe the dude can get off on appeal because that's a mistrial all day long.
Yeah. All right. So I think I'm okay with the judge allowing Justin to stay
Mhm.
because he didn't look up the information. J.K. Simmons did, and he just handed him the packet,
Mhm.
and then it immediately got taken by the bailiff. So, in that sense, it's like, okay, that's fine. Now, when he was talking to the jury, though, this was my nitpick. When they were like, oh, what did they say? And blah, blah, blah. And he's acting all nervous like he's getting forced to say it. And he's like, just say I can't say what
Yeah.
was on the papers. But he told you what was on it, right? Yes, but I can't say it because we're not supposed to be
But then
basing it off of that.
He tells them anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. So what was the point of you dropping it and getting it taken out?
It doesn't make any sense. Okay. Both lawyers suck at voir dire. Like, you don't let a cop on that jury.
Yeah.
Don't you always ask what people's occupation?
Always ask what the people's
Always.
occupation is. You don't let a med student on that jury. I just feel like cops, lawyers, and doctors, they were like, you can go. Like, you do not want them on your jury.
Well, I mean, you can let.
I mean,
a
let's just
doctor
like it
on
was something
a fraud trial
for you.
yeah, like you just not happening.
Not even a med student.
No, because she was busy poking holes in the ME's bad job.
Yeah.
They typically don't like professionals on juries.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're
smart.
better as a witness
Group of
than
idiots.
on a jury.
Yeah, they typically be like, "Oh, what do you do? No, you can go." Because
I
they
mean,
don't
especially
want.
if you're the prosecutor,
Yeah.
you don't want
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
med student on there.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you don't want them to look further into things.
And add
want,
doubt.
you want the jury to believe what was presented in front of them in court.
Yeah, the evidence that's presented to
Okay.
them is truth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if you got a cop or lawyer, they be like, "Well, what about this? Well, what about that?"
Mhm.
And usually, if you get professionals like doctors or whatever, even if it's not their field, there'll be more like
Thought.
high capacity thinkers.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know about this. So they want average run of the mill people on their juries.
Well, this is how we get a jury that's like, let's not talk about it. He's guilty. That's how we get
Yeah,
that.
that's
That is how you get
That
that.
is.
Yes. Okay. So the prosecutor goes by old boy's house because she's following up on all the cars that got work. I get there's no way she don't see those pictures with him in it. And
Yeah,
I
Like,
think
how do you
I was
not know
wondering-
that?
I was
was
thinking, I was like,
that's
she
why I
doesn't
thought
see
she
the
kind of
pictures?
went there. I'm like, you didn't know that this was his
There's-
wife until.
yeah, there's no way you don't see those pictures.
But she Googled it though. How important is this guy that she can just Google that?
Yeah, I was
Because
thinking that when she.
her social media came up. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
but
But
you-
she just Googled like such and such as husband and
Yeah.
his
It
pictures
it was the
pop up. I'm
first
like,
thing.
huh?
It would have been buried, but yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
there's no-
he's not famous.
That's,
Yeah,
that's
that's
like
what I'm like,
me
no.
Googling and putting DJ in there and like DJ's wife.
You would eventually find them.
Pictures of pop up and you and her like, hey, on vacation. It's
I
like,
feel like
wait,
you
why
would
y'all have
eventually
these?
find them, but it
Yeah, eventually it was the
You do take
first
some
search.
digging though. Like
Yeah.
like the first was all.
And then
Yeah.
it's not like they had like a super uncommon name or something where it's like, okay, that person comes up, right?
yeah.
Right. His name was Justin Kemp. I'm pretty sure there's 15 other Justin Kemps
Yeah.
in his county.
Probably.
Probably. Okay, my last nitpick. So up until this point, he had pretty much had divided the jury. It's about half and half for guilty and not guilty.
Mhm.
Then they go visit the scene, which to me says after you visit a scene, old man's witness testimony is out. Doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. But somehow, since the black guy was like, I'm never voting not guilty. Okay, that's on you.
Mm.
How did Justin convince the jury? Remember, they're 50-50 now.
Yeah. How did he convince the other?
Yeah, how does he all of a sudden, not only does he vote guilty, but convince everyone else to vote guilty when you already
You already
started,
convinced them to go not guilty.
you already convinced him to go not guilty. Now we have all of these holes in the evidence now. How
Mm-hmm.
do you all of a sudden convince them to ignore all that and vote guilty? It just doesn't make any
But
sense. Like,
obviously,
how do we get to
without
that
much
point?
of a battle, like I would have been like, wait, why are you all of a sudden?
Yeah, like why all of a
guilty
sudden
now?
you changing the story and then we should change with you?
Right.
Doesn't because now I figure half of them were like, well, you're right, that doesn't make because now the med students like that doesn't make any sense,
Mhm.
right? The only two people who was just like hands down, I don't care, was the black people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everyone else was like, well, let's think about this.
Mhm.
So I don't know all of a sudden how like all of a sudden guilty. Okay, it doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense.
Yeah,
No, I don't.
It didn't. Because I was really surprised that it came to that result after that.
Yeah, I thought like,
I thought
they
it
got
was
a
gonna
verdict.
come out.
What do you mean
Yeah,
they
I
got a
thought they
verdict?
were going to come out and said that we couldn't come to an unanimous.
Yeah, I
decision.
thought it was gonna be like a
Mhm.
hung jury or something. It just
Yeah.
it didn't. It was just like what? Like how did we get here?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It should have at least been a hung jury.
Yes.
I
I
would have
agree.
felt better at the end of the movie
Mhm.
Yep.
than what we got.
I know y'all
Then
disagree with
maybe
about him
some-
dying, but I'm just saying
I don't think he has to die, but
he has to die.
Well, yeah, because again, the boyfriend doesn't get out unless he wins an appeal.
Yeah. Which I mean, he has plenty of grounds for appeal.
Yeah.
Mm.
Not in this world. Not in the world. I mean, the movie world. No. he
Well,
probably
no,
don't.
because
He's
everyone in the
jail
movie
forever.
world is awful people.
truth.
All right, that was my last nitpick. I just want to ask you. The ending was kind of vague. My thoughts on the ending was that she's the one who bought the car. and she's gonna try to use that somehow to get him.
Yeah, she's pursuing. That's why I told you she's now pursuing a case against him. But to me, like I said, it didn't matter.
It doesn't matter
because the innocent person's still in jail and will stay there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she is his prosecutor, so she can
do it.
Okay, she can reopen the trial.
But she needs something to be on that car, and there's no guarantee.
Yeah, you're not gonna have. Yeah, so
long shot.
Indeed,
she can have it be declared a mistrial though.
She needs evidence. She doesn't have any.
She has Justin's. Oh, I was going to say his witness evidence, but he's not gonna give it.
She doesn't have anything.
Oh, so you don't have anything.
That's why my theory is that she's the one who bought the car. Is why she showed up to the house.
But you're not gonna get anything off the car.
Unless I'm saying
the only thing she actually has is that he fixed his car around the same time.
I'm hoping that maybe something got snagged up underneath there.
Like some hair?
Yeah, like some hair or something like that.
Skin.
Yeah.
That they missed.
Yeah.
I mean, that can stay on the car for a long time. Especially depending on where it got caught. It can stay on the car for a long time.
Yeah, if it's in like his undercarriage or something, right? It's just like, it's just going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only thing.
Still a long shot, but
yeah.
Well, I mean, now we'll put him in jail for manslaughter. That'll be clear.
That's the only. That's
also
the only
he
way.
Now has worse crimes against him, especially since he sat on the jury.
He should have just came forward, and all of this would have been unnecessary.
Yep, fair enough.
All right, that was my last nitpick.
All right, so we get to rate the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting, so I'm gonna give it I pay for that, even though I'm unhappy with the end of the movie, and obviously there are some holes to poke in the plot. I was interested in the movie throughout the entire movie.
Are you interested in a sequel?
No,
unless he dies in it.
Yeah, like the sequel should be a 20-minute movie of him going to jail and the boyfriend getting out, and then kicking him in the balls. You know, waiting until his son grows up and kicking his son in the balls too.
He had a daughter.
His daughter.
Wow.
Forgot.
Wow, Dad. Wow.
Well, kicking her ovaries. There you go.
You weren't supposed to continue on with that.
Nope.
All right.
It's gonna be a watch my phone and close for me.
Okay.
I'd say I'd pay for that because it was interesting.
I was going to give it I pay for that as well. It was interesting throughout. Okay. And I enjoyed it.
It's not a high one. Yeah, like I'm watch my phone and close. I'm okay with that too. It's on the edge.
I just feel like there's just
it's on the edge.
There's so many plot holes.
It's a lot of plot holes, but I feel like it's
plot holes in life.
It's realistic in the fact that I feel like this is legit how a trial could possibly go.
It could go.
Like I could see this happening.
As dumb as it is, it's not unrealistic, which is what. Yeah.
I mean, no, I'm not denying that our justice system is trash. But still, I just felt like there were just too many things.
Like, are you unlikely to get a jury that's this stupid? Yeah, but could you?
You could.
Yeah, you could.
Absolutely.
Are you unlikely to have a case like this go to trial because there's like no evidence? Yeah, but could you?
Could.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it's fair enough. I still feel like it was just too much.
Our justice system sucks, but our finger pointing system, off the charts.
Perfect.
I mean, agreed.
Honestly, to be honest, you go to trial if they want you to go to trial. Not about it being a part of the law or whatever. If they want you to go to trial, unless you plead out, you go to trial.
Agreed, because I can think of another case that we will talk about offline. Where it's just like, I'm just like, y'all being ridiculous, just stop.
Yeah.
Right on.
But yeah, okay.
All right. So that was our thoughts about Juror number 2. Better movie than I thought it was. I was surprised when you mentioned it, and I was like, oh, this is a 2024 movie. I don't know when last time I watched a new movie.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
I was like, oh, okay. And, pleasantly surprised, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have high expectations for it. Didn't know exactly what it was going to be about. I didn't know if it was going to be like they were after Juror number 2 or something like that.
Agreed. I had no idea what the story was.
I was wondering too. I was like, so is he like an actual criminal trying to cover something up, and they're getting close to him by this case?
I Googled a whole bunch of stuff before because I was just like, Juror number 2. Then I'm like, is this a remake of something else?
I feel like I heard it before though, like the
I
name, the
do
title,
feel like I
Juror
heard
number
it
2.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting movie. If you haven't seen it, I would say go check it out on a day you don't have anything to do. No problem. It's on HBO Max. You can watch it. With that being said, thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you in the next one.